Hi you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ty and I'm back with another video. So as I promised you guys, this video is me sharing my story about what happened to me when I was 14 years old. I want to start off by saying I'm not sure if I was 14 or 15. I know I was one of those because I know it was a little after my daughter was born, and I had my daughter at the age of 14. So before I start my story, I want to start off by saying I am not doing this video to be labeled as a victim. I am not a victim. I am a survivor. I want to let you guys know that well, I guess I'll start off by saying, who am I targeting with this video? I am talking to the I want to start off by, for some reason I want to say the kids, but I feel like Spirit telling me to say I want to start off with the adults. I want to start with the adults first. The adults who have been through sexual assault when they was a child and haven't found a way to heal from it yet. This video is for you. And Spirit wanted me to let you know that the reason why Spirit wanted to acknowledge you first is because you have been holding on to this pain more than anybody else that's watching this video. And you are in a place in your life right now where what happened to you then does not define who you are anymore. And I want to let you know personally that I understand you and I get you, because I used to be you. And I had to really do a lot of shadow work and healing, of my own, to really get to this place where I can talk about what happened to me, or and most importantly, be able to talk to the people that was always there, that you may feel like should have protected you, about what happened, and not feel yourself getting emotionally drained from the trigger of the feeling all over again. And those people who you're sharing your story with not understanding you, and you feeling like you can't wrap your head around why they don't understand you. But I came to the conclusion that no one cannot really come to terms with how you really feel inside unless they have been through something similar to what you've been through. So I just want to give a side note to, like I said, my adults who's watching. Don't get yourself your energy wound up, and you get to the place where you are angry because when you try to express yourself and tell people what happened to you, it seems like sometimes, instead of them trying to understand you, they try to put a label on it, when it's really nothing to put on it. It's how you feel. And one thing that I learned too, I want to share real quick, is you cannot tell anyone how to feel. And what I mean by that is, if someone is hurt by something that happened to them, you cannot measure and weigh how hurt they're supposed to be. You don't know how it affected that person. Everybody is different. God created us all different. We all have different blueprints. With that being said, the ingredients that God had to use to make us. Some people are very emotional. Some people are not that emotional. It all depends on what your path is here. So, okay, so that was just that was a note for my adults real quick. I kind of got carried away, but it is what it is. This is a divine video on a divine timing, so I'm going to speak when the divine tells me to speak. So anyway, now to my babies. I want to start off by saying I love y'all so much. And for my teenagers and the younger generation that I'm talking to who has been through it recently or have been through it, you know, within your age group. I want to start off by saying you are not the only one. I know at times you feel like you are, and it's so hard for you to sometimes just be yourself in a world that's full of hatred. For those of you who haven't spoke out at all about what happened, because maybe in the past you have spoke out and nothing happened, or maybe you just feel like no one's going to believe you, or the worst case scenario is maybe you feel like you're kind of part of the reason why it happened to you, or you feel responsible for why it happened, because maybe you feel like you was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and if you wasn't there, it wouldn't have happened. I want to let you know, for one, stop holding on to that. Stop holding on to the feeling of feeling like you're responsible for what happened to you, because you're not. You're not. And when I share my story, you're going to see why for a long time I used to think the same way. For a long time, I didn't tell too many people because I felt like I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I felt like I was kind of being grown, and if I went, you know, was like if I was at the house where I should have been at with my child that I had at the age of 14, which is crazy and all in one too, but it's okay though. You know, I felt like maybe that wouldn't have happened, but anyway, I want to let you know, like I said, stop holding on to the shame of feeling like everybody's gonna judge you. I know you probably have an anxiety, thinking if I do speak out, would they even believe me? Would they believe him over me? Or would they believe her over me, vice versa? Even though I'm making this video for young ladies and women, you know, you never know who's watching, so I wanted to put that in the spirit, wanted me to say that. So, y'all gotta bear with me too, because this is a long time coming, and I'm not that comfortable talking about it. But at the same time though, one thing that I'm learning is that whenever you're comfortable, something ain't right. For me, I feel like I like to be uncomfortable, because I know that when you're uncomfortable, that's when you're walking into your destiny, because your destiny wasn't meant to be walking apart. I mean, it's gonna have challenges within and that's the beauty about the purpose in your destiny, is that you breaking through all the obstacles and all the challenges that came into your life, and you still overcoming that, and you still becoming that version of yourself that you always dreamed of being, and most importantly, the version of yourself that you agreed to become, and you know, when you came to this world and make this place, you know, a better place. But anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked on that, but I'm just gonna say, a spirit want me to say, everybody have a Akashic record, and what spirit want you to know is that you may have picked that, and you don't remember picking that. So that's why it's important for us to understand and stand in our power and understand that it happened. It didn't happen to us, it happened for us. And when you reach that place, when you understand that, that's when your true power blossom, and you can go from a victim like I was to a survivor. And when you become a survivor, you can also become a leader and a healer to help other people out here who are going through the same thing that you're going through, because you better believe that you're not the only one. You better believe that it's not that it stopped, because it was happening before you, it was happening after you, and it's going to continue to happen. And that's all a part, once again, of Akashic Records. But I digress on that. I want to go ahead and get into the stories. So, like I said, I was young. I had to be at least, if I wasn't 14, I was freshly 15. And I had a daughter at the time. So obviously I was already, I had already had sex because I had a daughter. So for me, the guy who I had a baby from, he was 15, 16, 17, 18, I think 3 years. He was 3 years older than me. And yeah, he was, because I remember, yeah, that's right. I don't even want to, I was going to say something, but I ain't even going to say it. So yeah, so he was 3 years older than me. So I had kind of, you know, with me having a baby at such a young age, and, you know, like I said, I was already having sexual intercourse. I wasn't really attracted to guys my age. I always felt like at the time that I wanted to date somebody older. I felt like I needed somebody more mature, because I felt like even though I was young, I was very mature, mentally wise, and I just wanted somebody to match my energy. And I just felt like the guys, you know, the boys, should I say, that I was, you know, going to school with, I just felt like, I don't know, like I was attracted to older guys for some strange reason. And I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real with y'all in this video too. I think the reason why I was attracted to older guys, because I was born and raised in the hood, as I tell y'all before. I've told y'all this plenty of times in my video. So coming from being a black girl from the hood, my daddy always sold drugs, but then again, he was in the midst of him selling the drugs, he ended up doing his own drugs, and he would have his times where he would be like on his little drug spring, and then he'll have time where he'll be up and he'd be like the damn drug pen. So it was so weird with him, with my dad, like I say. So it was like my dad was always in and out of my life. He was always in my life, but it was times in his life that he was dealing with, you know, his own challenges in his life, and he couldn't really be there for me, if you understand what I'm saying. But one thing about him though, he was like the best dad that I could ever ask for. And I know that sounds crazy to some people that listen, but he was. And even though my dad went through his things, and even not even with the drugs, even with his like mental state, my dad had a lot of mental issues like I have had in the past, of you know, just not wanting to be here. He had went to PIMS before. For those of you who don't know what PIMS is, it's basically like a sight home. I don't want to say a crazy home, but whatever. But it's like a sight home, people who kind of like lose their mind, and you know. So anyway, I remember like as a child, I would be so happy when my mom would take me to go see him when he was in PIMS, because even though my dad, like I said, he'll have his times when he wasn't there, I know that he was going through his own, you know, things in his life. And sorry y'all, I might get emotional talking about my daddy, but I never judged him. I was always there for him, and because my dad, he was the only one who really understood me, you know what I mean? So, and I always felt, ever since I was a child, misunderstood. To this day, I still feel like I'm misunderstood, but as I got older, I just stopped giving a fuck, really, that I'm misunderstood, because I feel like I'm not here for people to understand me. I'm here for me to be me, and that's Taisha. So if somebody come around me in my energy and they don't understand me, that's their business. That's not my business. But I'm not from a dim my light to make myself fit into their fucking box that they expect me to be in, or because I'm not. And I'm more like a circle anyway. I'm not a box. So anyway, so yeah, at the time, I'm pretty sure my dad was probably going through one of his little drug dens. But whatever it was, you know, like I said, he at this specific time, he wasn't really, his mental wasn't really good at the time. So, and I always tell people, you cannot show up for no one if you're not okay. So, and that goes even for your kids. Like, that's why it's important that we meditate, and that we, you know, and especially for the ones who've been through what we've been through, that we just take that time to rewind and relax and give ourselves time to process everything that happened to us, and understand that, like I'm gonna keep saying in this video, it didn't happen to us, it happened for us. So anyway, okay, I told you a little bit about my dad. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my mom. My mom, she's amazing, obviously. But my mom have 6 kids. I was the youngest. So my mom is also obviously from the hood, because I'm from the hood. And she drinks a lot. But one thing about my mom is don't get it twisted. Like, you know how some people that they just drink and they just like every day they wake up, every morning it's like they drink every day they drink. They can't do nothing else but drink. It seems like that's all their life surrounds around. My mama, she gonna wait till about 4 or 5 o'clock to get on the porch, right? And that's when she gonna drink. But one thing about my mama though, when it's time to get up in the morning, she be up early as fuck. And I never, to this day, I still don't understand how she do that shit. And she still do it to this day. I don't understand how she do it, because I know when I used to drink, I would be asleep sometimes until the next night or the next day. So, but one thing about my mama, like I said, she would drink, but she'll get up every morning and take care of her business and do what she gotta do. And she'll even call me and my sisters and asking us that we do this too. But anyway, that was my mom. So, with that being said, when it was about 4 or 5 o'clock, you know, about 9 o'clock, my mama probably in the bed asleep. So I knew that when it was about 9 o'clock, that was my gateway to get the fuck out the house. Because I would hit that gate, hit that window, I'll be gone. Bad as hell. But anyway, so yeah, so like I say, my mom was in my life, my dad was in my life, but you know how that shit is when, you know, mama and daddy, it's like they give you what you need as far as like a roof over your head, you know, food and shit, but like that sit down talk, you know what I'm saying? When your mama tell you, listen, this what it is and this what it ain't. I'm gonna tell you about these mans and how what they gonna tell you to get what they want. You know, that mother and daughter talk to tell you what it is and what it ain't. Like, I never had that really from my mom. As a matter of fact, my stepmom, who my dad was with mostly all my life, she was the one who even told me what a period was. I didn't even know what the fucking period was. So my mom, she never was the type to really like talk to me like emotionally. Like, she always kind of like being kind of like a strong person. Like, it take a lot for you to see her cry. For some reason, she just never really like, I don't know. She's just total opposite from me. Like, I'm very emotional. I like to talk about things. My mom, she don't want to talk about shit. If something happens, she want to just sweep it under the rug like it didn't happen and move on. And a lot of times, I remember my dad, me and him, me and my dad, we was like this. And we would talk about everything. And I remember one day he told me that he feel like when she drinks, she thinks about a lot of things that happened to her in her past. And he would tell me that she, you know, probably been through a lot too. But she was so secretive because she wouldn't always tell people about things that happened in her past. And so yeah, my mom, like I say, she wasn't really there for me, like I feel like mentally, but she was there though, don't get it twisted. She was there, and that's why over time I had to learn to stop holding so much anger with her, because, and for y'all out there who still hold anger with your mom because maybe you know, told her what happened, or maybe you feel like if she was more of a mom to you, it wouldn't have happened, or whatever the case may be. Even with the dads out there, the ones who may feel the resentment with their dads that may not have a mom. What I want to encourage you to do is sit down with your parent, and start asking them questions about their past. Because I'm learning that a lot of times when people don't know how to talk about things, and you know, that's a mental thing. And a lot of times when people don't feel comfortable talking about things, like I just said, I didn't really feel too comfortable talking about this now, it's because it's something that happened to them that comes back up when they talk about it. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, you know, I feel like we have so much anger towards our parents when, if we just took the time to sit down and understand again that it didn't happen to us, it happened for us. Maybe we'll have grace for our parents to understand that we was placed in that womb for a reason, because she was a broken woman, and you had to come through that brokenness so you can be broken, and so you can be the new thing to come into this world to help the other ones that's broken, to help billions and millions of people. What if it's bigger than just you? You know what I mean? Just like with Mary in the Bible, like Mary didn't think that, like, you know what, it was bigger than just Mary and her having a baby. It was bigger than just Jesus coming here. It was way bigger than that. Jesus is gone now, and it's still people who, you know what I mean, that follows that. And so I don't want to get too much into religion, because that's not even what I'm here for at the end of the day. And I'm not even a religious person. I believe in all religions have some type of truth in it. But anyway, so yeah, I told y'all a little about my mom and my dad, and the only reason I shared that because I wanted y'all, I really want to give people the picture to see, you know, what kind of environment I grew up in. So yeah, and I'm saying this because I want to let people know that it's not about where you come from, it's about where you're going at the end of the day. So don't feel like too that what happened to you and where you was at that time is gonna basically be what you are always. Because I feel like for a long time I used to feel like, well, it seemed like I'm just born in this family and it's like I'm stuck in the hood and I ain't never gonna get out. I'm probably gonna have to work for people for the rest of my life like everybody else do, and just drink, you know, smoke and hang out and party like everybody else in my family do, because it's all I see. Have kids, get on, you know, first thing they want to do is get child support, housing, just live out. Like, that's what for looking around, I thought, well, maybe this damn it. Shit, I had a baby so young. And I want to let you know, for my young babies, it is not fucking it. It's not it. Then what happened to you and what happened to you is not going to define who you are in the future. And I'm a prime example to let you know it's not. I'm 31 years old now. I just finished nursing school. I just started my own business. My daughter is 16 years old now. She's still a virgin. She, you know, like, I'm just showing y'all it's not over. Because I used to think that it was over, and all I did was dream. And I feel like around that time, all my dreams kind of just crashed and went down the drain, and I started going down another path. And yeah, so I don't want to get too much on that. That's in another video. So let me get to the story, y'all. So I was with my friend, and me and my friend, we was walking from somewhere. I don't know if we was going to her house, my house, I don't know. It was a little, maybe it was like 6 or 7, I'm not sure, but I know the sun was going down, so maybe it was like 7, 8. But we was walking, and I had one of my sister's friend, another girl stayed in the neighborhood, which was my sister's friend. Her brother had rolled by us, and I knew of him because I used to see him when I used to go to you know, walk with my sister to her friend's house in the neighborhood, because sometimes we'll all hang out. You know how that be, and you know how that be growing up in the hood, and you just come outside after school or on the weekend, you hanging out with everybody. So like I said, I had been to the house a couple times. I know that she had a lot of brothers, and I know that he in particular was her brother. So when he stopped the car and was asking my name and my number and stuff, I gave it to him. At the time, I'm not quite sure how old he was. I know he was in his 20s. But like I said before, I knew who he was. So, and I was at the time attracted to older guys, because I felt like maybe if I talked to an older guy, I guess if I asked him for something, he can give it to me. And at the time, you know, my mama and my daddy, they ain't really have it like that. So I ain't really have shit. To this day, I was an adult when I got my first pair of Jordans. But anyway, I ain't trying to like talk bad about my parents or nothing once again, because this is not what this video is about, because I respect my mom and my dad, but I'm just keeping it real and telling the truth. But yeah, like we ain't really have shit. Like, all we had was the house from Section 8 and food stamps, so I had the basics, and that's all I fucking really needed at the time. But you know how that shit be. You see everybody else, all your little friends and stuff, they got these new shoes, they got their hair done, and they get their nails done, and they get little money from dudes and stuff. And at the time, I had friends who was doing that and was already, you know, on a whole different level. So I was thinking like, okay, well, if I talk to an older dude, maybe, not saying I was doing it to get something in return, but I just, you know, young, dumb, not knowing no better. And I'm not trying to call you dumb, baby, the ones who are going through this right now. You learning, it's your lessons, that's a part of life. But that's what I'm sharing, what happened to me, so you can know that, like, I know a couple of y'all is gonna sit there and be like, damn, that's crazy as fuck. That's the same thing that just happened with this dude. And this happened to her, what, about 10 years ago? Not even, what, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 15 years ago. But yeah, I had to count on my fingers. But anyway, this is to show y'all that, like I say, this shit just is a recycling like thing that's happening. That's why I'm speaking out, and I'm encouraging more people to speak out, because it need to come to an end, for real though. Especially in the hood where people ain't talking about it. And that's who I'm speaking to, from the people in the hood. That shit going right in our face with people that we know and we trust, and they break our trust, and then we feel like we can't speak out on it because we worry about who gonna trust us. And at the end of the day, fuck who trusts you or not. Speak your truth, period. So I wish I was more like that back then, but I am now. So anyway, so yeah, so I gave him my phone number, and I remember like it was yesterday, I had on this dress that tied around my neck. And I remember the dress because it was my favorite fucking dress. It was gray, white, and black, and it had like a whole bunch of shapes on it and designs, and it was like silky material. The dress wasn't that long. It probably came like right here to my thigh, and like I say, it was a halter top, and it tied around my neck. So he got my number, whatever, and I think he texted me. And when he texted me, he asked me if I wanted to ride with him to go drop off the dude who's in the car with him when he tried to holler at me. So I was like, yeah, I'll ride with you. So I think me and my dog at the time, I think we was smoking. And so we had smoked the joint, and after we got done smoking, I think a couple, not too long afterwards, he ended up picking me up. So when he picked me up, we ended up dropping the dude off, who he was telling me he was going to drop off, who was in the car with him. So when we dropped the dude off, he had said that he had to go grab something real quick. And he asked me if I could ride with him. And I was like, yeah, I said, yeah, that's cool, whatever. So when he drive to the place where he said he had to go pick up something, it ended up being a hotel room. So when we got there, I'm expecting him to just go in there and grab it and come out, but he cut the car off, and he was like, come on, why don't you come in here with me real quick while I get it together. So me, I'm just assuming, okay, he must be about to get some drugs or something and put it together. But you know, I ain't thinking too much of it, because my daddy sold drugs and shit. I've been around drugs my whole motherfucking life. Shit, all the niggas from the hood. I ain't mean to say niggas from the hood. I told myself in this video I wasn't gonna use the word nigga, but it came out. But I'm gonna try to stop using that word. So all my friends from the hood, we like I said, I done been around it, so it wasn't like it was like, oh my god, like the fuck. It is what it is. The person who I had a baby from at the time, he sold drugs. So that's very common in the hood. If you from the hood, like, it's just like, anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. So we get out the car and we go into the room. So when we go into the room, like, it was one of those rooms where they have like the two beds right next to them, and it didn't have like no like chair or nothing like you can sit down there. So I just sat on the edge of the bed, one of the beds. And when I sat down, I think he had like went in the back, like towards like the, I guess, the sink area or whatever. Like, it was like a mirror, and then if you go to the left, it was a bathroom. And I know he went over there in that area doing whatever the fuck he was doing. And I don't even remember, like, I don't think he was saying nothing to me. And on the way there, he didn't say too much to me either. I remember he had the music playing. And so he ended up coming back in the room while I was sitting there, and he sat right next to me on the bed. And when he sat right next to me, he was like talking to me and stuff, telling me, oh, how I look good and I'm fine and all this stuff. And as he talking to me, he started kissing on me, like on my neck, and like getting on me and kind of like, coming towards me, leaning on me, like. And I'm sitting like on the bed towards the wall at the top of the bed, and he sit right next to me. So as he doing that, I'm kind of like brushing him off, kind of like leaning off a little bit, like. But at the same time, though, I wasn't like, get the fuck off me, like, but because I'm thinking like, okay, he must like me. But I felt uncomfortable because I felt like, why is he kissing my woman, though? Like, you know what I'm saying? We didn't even talk that much. You just literally got my number. Like, I did think he was cute, but I wasn't, I wasn't thinking about having sex with him at all whatsoever. I'm thinking like, okay, he asked my number, cool, I'm gonna start talking to him, see where it go. But not in a million years did I think that I wanted to have sex with this man. So And not even that. I don't know if it was just I was young and naive, or I didn't even think that he would try me like that. And I think the reason why I thought like that is because even though I didn't necessarily know him, I knew of him and he knew of me. Like, he knew my sister. He knew that where I stayed at, right around the corner from, you know what I'm saying, their people's house. He knew that I used to come over there sometime and, you know, and be like fucking with his sister and shit. So it's like I felt like, in a way, like, I didn't think that a person that was that close to home would violate me the way that he did. So as he kissed on me and stuff, I kind of like started pushing him off a little bit. But as I'm pushing him off, and I wasn't pushing. I'm gonna be real with y'all. At this time, I wasn't pushing him off. I was, you know how someone try to like kiss you and you kind of like do like this. So I was kind of like moving away. But as I was moving away, the more I'm leaning away from him, because he's on this side. At this point, I'm leaning over and he's leaning over with me. So now my head is literally on the bed. So now that my head is on the bed, like I told y'all, I had on a dress. So my dress was like, kind of like I said, I already showed y'all how short my dress was. And so it was nothing for him to just take his finger and move his finger up my dress. And that's what he started doing as I'm laying down. So as I'm leaning over trying to push him off, he's leaning on top of me. And the more I push back, because at this point I'm pushing now because he's on top of me. And I can't, you know what I'm saying? And I'm telling him, move, stop, get off of me. Like, and that's when I realized he's not moving. And the more I push, the more he push on top of me. And, you know, this is a grown-ass man. So, of course, his force is stronger than mine. So he eventually overpowered me and got on top of me. It was I don't want to get into details about how it was, because I remember it like it was yesterday, from him breathing heavily on top of me, sweating like a dog. And in the midst of it, I remember me feeling, excuse the music, y'all, I'm outside. It's a car that rolled past, but I felt dumb. And I felt like it was my fault why I got raped. I felt like I should never even gave him my number. I felt like I shouldn't even came in that room. And at the time when all of it was happening, I wasn't thinking at all. I would have never thought in a million years that this man would have tried to rape me. I was just, you know, young, seeing, you know, this guy that I knew around the hood tried to talk to me. You know, I'm like, okay, he probably, you know, he had a little gold in his mouth. You know, so you think, oh, little tattoos, oh, he cute, he fine, oh, he probably getting a little money, I'm gonna talk to him. Not knowing that this dude was gonna rape me. And after he finished raping me, we left, and he didn't say a word to me when we were leaving out the room, nor did he say a word to me on the way back to dropping me back off. The whole time we drove to drop me back off, it was silence. I don't even think he played the music. And I remember when he dropped me off, I got in the car and I didn't even say shit to his ass. And nor did he say anything to me. And he never called me or texted me after that. So when I got in the house, I checked on my baby. She was asleep with my sister at the time. And I went in the bathroom and I sat in the tub and I just cried. I cried. And I struggled my body so hard. And I felt disgusted. And I felt like it was my fault that it happened. And I was scared to tell anybody what happened because I felt like all they was going to do is make it seem like it was me. I had already previously dealt with situations where I was sexually assaulted and almost sexually assaulted. And the shame that I brought to my mom, I think some of the times that I said stuff to her and some of the times that shit came out, and when I say come out, I mean like come out to the family, I think she had experienced that more than once with not just me, but also, you know, some of my other siblings, that I felt like she had got to the point where when I told her about something one day, she kind of blamed me. So when this happened to me, I didn't tell her because of that exact reason I just told y'all. So, I said I wasn't going to say this part, but I feel like I want to tell y'all because I don't even want to hide no more. And it don't really affect me anymore because it's not like I still have it. But the next day, I went to the bathroom and I noticed a discharge coming out of me. And I never in my life had this discharge come out of me. I never in my life had an STD or no nothing. And I knew something was wrong because it didn't look right. And I told my mom I need to go to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, they said that it was gonorrhea, and they gave me a shot in my butt, and they told me not to have intercourse in 3 days. So not only did he rape me, he had also gave me an STD that, thank God, it was just that, you know, because I was obviously able to get cured for it. And I remember my mom took me to the doctor. She probably just assumed, you know, that I got it from my baby daddy, because my baby wasn't, like I said, my baby was a couple months old, and I didn't tell her about me getting raped, even though that the guy who raped me was literally right around the corner from my house, and that I would still have to see him sometimes when I was out. And I think the pressure of knowing that, you know, this all was, you know, amongst the hood, because I just feel like one thing about the hood, when one thing happened in the hood, everybody know about it. And I just felt like I didn't want to be the one that everybody be like, oh, her grown ass, and he probably ain't, you know, she just had a baby, she probably just gave it to him, and she just probably like, I didn't want to have to go through that. And then on top of that, I didn't want to have to go through the shame. Like, I didn't want to feel like I was putting my mama through shame again. And I had already been through so much shit. Like I said before that, y'all, I just was like, fuck it. Like, I just dealt with the shit for a long time by myself. Like, And that shit fucked me up mentally, I started to think that everything that I used to dream about doing and having, that I started to think that it never was gonna happen. Like, for me to have to went through so much shit as a young girl, you know, even with, like I said, with I already get molested at such a young age, and then the attempts. I'm telling, they not believing me. I'm telling, they blaming me, and then for me to get raped again, like at 14, like, I was just like, you know what, maybe it was just meant for me to just have this shitty ass life, you know what I'm saying? It just seemed like no matter what happened, I just seemed like that shit kept chasing me or some shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, and it was like, I never really looked into dudes or men's for the sexual feeling. I really was always looking for that emotional love, you know what I mean? Like, the love that I never felt like I had at home. Like I said, my daddy was in and out, so when he was there, I remember when I was in high school, my daddy was doing really good, and he was, you know, on his shit, and that's when he was selling drugs heavy. He wasn't even doing drugs at all, and I remember around that time, I would, like, not even talk to dudes. Like, I would brush them off and laugh at them, like, because I felt like anything I needed or wanted, I could call my daddy, he would give it to me, because he was so proud of me at that time for graduating high school and going to college and stuff. And he always bragged about me whenever I did something good, because I was his only girl. And yeah, so even from, like I said, from a young age, like, even from young and older, I was always just looking for love. I always had like a shape, so I felt like it made older guys look at me in a sexual way. But I was never trying to, like, intentionally use my sexual appeal to gain, even though I know I had it. So I felt like, with that being said, a lot of females and a lot of people that I felt like, you know, didn't really give me that love like I wanted. Sometimes it was because of how I looked it. Because I want to let you know that a lot of times people will be jealous of you because of how you look, because they don't have something that you don't have. So, but what people don't know is, like, that pretty girl shit, pretty girls hurt too. Pretty girls go through shit too. And a lot of times when pretty girls, when things happen to us and we speak out about what happened, ugly people, and when I say ugly, I don't mean physically, but ugly people, ugly hearts, the ones who are envious of you, who probably secretly happy that shit happened to you, because they feel like, well, that'll damn that bitch, like, why she always thinking she the shit. So I just want to let you know, to, like I say, like, a lot of times when you have people in your corner who know what you've been through and still choose to act like they don't, or not to acknowledge it, don't worry about that shit. They probably 9 times out of 10 a fucking hater, or if it ain't that, is, like I said at the beginning of the video, if they ain't never been through what you've been through, they'll never understand you. And you wasn't put here for you. God didn't make you for you to come in here and teach them to have an understanding of who you are. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. We gave people chances when we told them what the fuck was going on. And if they didn't understand us then, it ain't nothing for them to understand now either. Because it's said and it's done and it happened. And I'm here to let you know that, once again, it didn't happen to you, it happened for you. And for my babies, don't be naive like I was and trust people just because they're from the hood. Because a lot of times we feel like being from the hood is kind of like living in the country, or living in a small town or a small village or wherever you're from in the world. Well, you know how that be when everybody know everybody, and, like, you know, so everybody trusts. You know, when everybody know everybody, like I said, when one thing happens, everybody knows. So people seem to trust others that they don't necessarily know, because you feel like they're a part of the community. You know what I mean? And I just want to let you know, don't trust nobody. Don't trust the friend or the family who been around since you was a little girl, because even they will look at you in a sexual manner. Don't trust your daddy friends, because when you grow up, you don't know who been looking at you in a certain kind of way since you was not, since you was this how. I done had people who I grew up with and considered like a brother to me that have said things to me, and it made me like, wow. And that just go back to, like I say, don't trust nobody, because you can't no more. And I hate that I gotta say this, because everybody feel like they gotta trust somebody, but when it come down to your trust, don't be so easily to let everybody have it so fast, because you don't know what people's intentions are towards you, especially when you're a beautiful person. Sometimes people will play on you to get what they want. And when you're beautiful outside and inside, oh Lord, the enemies want you because they mad because you got something that they want. And then when you do go through your shit, you're going to have so much animosity around you that a bitch don't even want to help you get through what you've been through, because they may feel like you got it perfect because you look a certain kind of way. So I'm sharing my story, y'all, because I want to let everybody else know, all my baddies out there, my babies, my adults, like let y'all know, like, we ain't got to be ashamed to tell our story. We ain't got to keep holding on to the feeling of being the victim. And for my babies, I want to let you know that you're going to look back at this 10 years from now, and you're going to realize how it made you who you are. Continue to shine your light. Don't feel the urge to get someone to understand you when they are content with not understanding you. I stressed myself out so many times and so many days for so many years, shouting and screaming to family members about what happened to me, looking for some understanding. And I'm in a place now when I realize that I never needed the understanding from them. What I needed the understanding is within myself. And there was something else I wanted to speak on. I forgot what it was, but I just want to let y'all know y'all not alone. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Don't let those thoughts of you replaying what happened to you in your head, when you go back to envision that, how I'm sitting here envisioning what happened to me and I'm going back into that place. Don't let it dictate the new you. I used to talk about it, and I feel drained and powerless, and like, when I finish, like when I get off of here, I be like, I sit around and I sit here and I think and I dwell and I get sad and feel depressed and feel angry like I used to. And now I sit back and I think about it for a little bit, and I let it fuel me and motivate me to do better, be better, forgive even the person who did it to me. Because in reality, I want to thank them. I almost said the N word. I want to thank him, because if he would never did what he did to me back then, I don't know if I would have had that in me. And that what I'm talking about is that fire in me that made me want to spaz out. when I hear and see this shit happening still to other young ladies. And not only that, they happen to go through what I went through. Because I remember, you know, the time when I popped a half a bottle of ibuprofen and tried to kill myself. Like, I remember when I used to fight with God and have conversations with God all the time, me boo-boo crying and God telling me I can't leave, and I'm like, I want to fucking go. Like, I remember when I didn't even want to motherfucking be here, man. And I do feel like a lot of those times, you know, when I was in those, my lowest moments, a lot of that, you know, stemmed from a lot of shit that I've been through as a child. Like, and I don't. So when I see, like I said, when I see that shit happening still to this day and it's going on, and everybody just sweeping under the rug, and everybody saying nothing, and that shit, it fucks with me heavily, because I feel like with me not speaking out about it, I'm basically being like everybody else who know what happened. Like, everybody who knew what happened to me when I was a child and wasn't doing shit about it, I feel like I'm allowing myself to be like them for somebody else. So I may not be able to go to your family and speak to them directly, but fuck that. Fuck them. It's about you. And I'm speaking directly to you and let you know that you are not the only one. You are the head, not the tail. God know your story. God know what you've been through. You have a Akashic record. You knew your story, even though you may not have remembered. And do not allow your story to be in vain. And if you want to tell your story, tell your story. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But what we're not doing anymore is we're not from keeping empowering the enemy who did it to us and depowering ourselves, making us feel like, oh, well, no, fuck that. Speak your truth. And know that you are not alone. And if you got 20 people in your family who don't believe you, you got 20 more people outside of your physical family who will believe you. And at the end of the day, it ain't even about who believe you and who don't, because if you know what the fuck happened to you, that's all that matters. Your truth is what matters. And that's on God. And when you leave here and you have to replay that shit on that big ass screen when you dead and gone, you gonna be, do you want to be, let me ask you a question. Do you want to be that person who's still looking at that screen and you see yourself as a victim and now you're a survivor? Or you want to look at that screen and look at yourself as a victim and you playing a victim for the rest of your life? When in the Akashic Records, you was supposed to come here, be the victim, and become the survivor to teach. Each one teach one. We live and we learn. We go through lessons, and lessons turns into blessings. That's what life is about. So don't let nobody make you feel like, oh, it's you're the reason why this. At the end of the day, everything supposed to happen for a reason. Don't dwell on shit. Don't be angry at nobody. Ask God to have mercy on those who have hurt you and harmed you, because they're going to need it. And what God needs for you to do is stay focused on what your dreams and what your goals is. Because that little petty ass shit that people done did to you and tried to tear you down and destroy you, that wasn't nobody but the enemy. And the reason why the enemy came in like that, so strongly on you like that, mentally, because when you get raped, that shit is a mental thing. That shit will mentally fuck you up. And the devil placed that in your life. And God allowed for things to be placed in your life because God knew that it took something to stir up something inside of you. And sometimes God will let the devil do certain things because God already knows. It ain't nothing that you can do to the chosen one that's going to take them away from their path. If anything, you might do something that you're going to take them away, but you ain't doing nothing but making it easy for them to get where they're going. Because after the storm, it always wet. The sun going to come out and shine again. So continue to shine. Don't let those negative people dim your light, nor the person who violated you, because God always has the last say. I love y'all so very much, and I'm happy that I finally made this video, and I know that this video is anointed and that it's meant to reach millions of people all over the world. So this is for us. I love y'all. We are no longer victims. We are now survivors. I love y'all, and so does God. Until next time.